Hi everybody, and welcome back to Sew Along with Jan and the October Kimberbell Mini Quilt. So in this video, this is video number 2, so we're going to do 3 more cupcakes. We're going to do Cupcake 7, Cupcake 4, and Cupcake 3. So these all look like very fun and easy as well. So I think the first one we're going to do is Cupcake 7, and it's going to have, it has little candy corns on it. So that'll be really cute. So I'm going to get my little bundle here with all my fabrics for Cupcake 7. And this one, let's see, does not have any extra like embellishments on it, so it's just the fabrics. All of the fabrics have shape flex on the back, so let's get these out so you can see them. So this is the frosting, and they all have shape flex. This is the actual cupcake, so there's another one of those little kind of creamy colored ones. The little cup part is the pink, and then my background is going to be orange. So these are the pieces we'll need. Get rid of my pen here. And we need to do another one of the quilting designs. So I think we're going to go back to the diamond design. So give me a second here. I'm going to get my orange thread ready. It's my 208, I think it's 208 orange. That goes well with the background fabric. Get the machine ready to thread it here. And then we're going to go get our design. So we need to get our diamond 1 is the one I'm using because I didn't have the diamond 7 that they called for, or diamond 3, I'm sorry, that they called for. So we're going to go over here and get our design. These are going to be the same size, so we're going to go get the 4x4 version of that. Let's see, and it says to use the vertical. Yeah, vertical again. So, oops, there we go. If I could hit the right button, it would work. So let's go back and get diamond. Always have to be careful not to go too fast. Diamond 1, yeah, is the one I'm using. And then we'll go get, now these again were ones that didn't have any clear blue tile files. They just had the block by blocks. So this is and we're always using the block by blocks when we're doing these little quilts, just to to remind everybody of that. So we're going to get the diamond, and this is the vertical one, and that's 4x4. So it comes up as 4.5 by 4.5. As you can see, we'll use our 5x7 hoop again. And then we're going to go add, and we're going to go get the Cupcake 7. So this is the one with the little candy corns on it. Candy corns always remind me of Halloween. So, all right, we get this one right here. Okay. PES, we need to go to October. And let's see. Oh, here they are. I think it's this one right here, it looks like. Yep. All right, and it says to bring it in centered, which it does, so we should be good there. And we're going to hit embroidery. All right, I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to thread my machine with my orange for my quilting, and I've got my no-show mesh stabilizer in my 5x7 hoop. Just got bobbin thread in the bobbin, and we're going to start out with step number 1 of the quilting, of course, which will be the placement line for the batting. Get all my little pieces over here so I'm ready. These have been so fun. I love doing these small blocks because they go very quickly. They turn out so cute. So I got my chunk of batting here. My Hobbs 8020. That's my favorite batting. So we'll go ahead and get that placement line. We're going to lay this over the placement line. And then I'm going to do step number 2 will be the tack down line for the batting. And it'll go around it twice. There's been lots of traffic outside today. There was a football game here in Iowa City. The first football game for the fall, and I've heard a lot of traffic going in and out. So people must have been at the game. I'm sure it's over by now. I think it started at 11 or 11:30 this morning. All right. So we're going to trim close to the stitches here. And then we're going to do step number 3, which will be the placement line for the background fabric. Oops, here. I think I need a new pair of scissors. I'm getting close. I trim a lot of weird things with my scissors, so I do go through a fair amount of scissors. And these are very hard to get sharpened. If anybody knows of somebody that sharpens these curved scissors and does a good job, please let me know. I have a lot of them, and they need to be sharpened, but I've never found anybody around here that did a really good job on these, unusual scissors. So, all right, so step number 3 is going to be the placement line for our background fabric. Oops, put my book out of the way. My book's kind of heavy. After I put the second half of the year in, boy, that book got kind of heavy. All right. And all of these have shape flex. So there's the shape flex on the back. I'm trying to get all the little lint out of this. There we go. And then lay this over the placement line and the batting to get it as even as possible. Step number 4 is the tack down line. Kind of looking ahead to see what we have to do here. So we'll do our tack down line, and then step number 5 is always the quilting. And it'll be the little diamond shape again. Okay, so step number 5 is the quilting. Get that started, and I'll be back in a moment when that's done. And then I think we're going to move on to the, it looks like the, for the cupcake part, this part in the center. Okay, so there's our quilting. I really like the hob. See how nice and detailed you can see the poof in the quilting, so I really like it. So the first step of the actual cupcake, which is on page 12 of the instructions, is going to be the little cupcake part in the center. So I put my ivory back in, and we're going to use that little piece of ivory that'll actually be the cupcake part. So I've got that. I got some shape flex on the back of that as well. And this one that looks like, again, it's going to have some decorative stitches on it. So make sure I get it right side up here. This one's kind of hard to tell. All right, we'll get this laid over that. And then the next step is going to be that tack down line for that. And then we'll trim. And I think the next part's going to be the little liner cup part. I like this fabric. I used this in something else recently. Oh, in my settee pillow. I liked this fabric. It's cream colored, kind of a winter white, and it has a little teeny bit of a flower, but you really don't see it. I don't know if you can even tell it's got flowers on it, but I liked it's very tiny print. All right, so let's get this trimmed close. So if anybody needs the scissors, I'll have them linked in the description below on the ShieldSewingCenter.com website. They are the most awesome scissors. I've been using these for years. And then the next step is going to be the little decorative stitches along the edge here. I'll leave that ivory thread in there. And I think next we're going to go to pink, I think. Yep, looks like pink. Just a little teeny bit of a decorative stitches on the edge. They do a lot of, and this one's got the candy corn, so it's going to do a lot of stitching around the outside edge of the little frosting and stuff. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my pink, which is going to be for the cup part. So this is 85, number 85 pink. Let's see if I can reach around the microphone and the camera here. All right, so it's going to do our placement line first. This is step number 4 on page 12. And then I'll get my little liner piece, and this one's also got the shape flex on the back. I'm trying to read as I'm going here. Because just to remind you that when I do these, I'm doing these for the first time with you guys. So I'm trying to read ahead a little bit so that I don't mess up too much for you. All right, so we're going to put this down over the top. Again, shape flex on the back. Get this all organized there. And then we're going to do the next step, which is the tack down line for that. And it looks like we're going to trim that too before we turn the page to page number 13, where we'll work with the, oh, it looks like the frosting is next. And I think they're going to do, the next step will probably be well, maybe not. I'm not sure if they did no, I think it's going to do the applique first. So yeah, it looks like the applique is going to go first. So we're going to trim this, and then it's going to do the applique for the frosting. So we'll trim this little liner part. And these are a little tricky to trim, so just take your time getting around all those little curves there. Their decorative, or their satin stitches are usually pretty, you don't have to be quite so worried about trimming. I'm working on another project right now that, boy, I have to really be careful trimming, because generally when a placement line, they do a placement line and then they do a tack down line, and normally the tack down line is just a little bit inset on most appliques from the placement line, and the ones I'm doing are not, and boy, I have to really work hard to get the trimming done. All right, so then we want to go to the yellow for my little piece of frosting here. So I'm going to go to my Fashion Glow. I like to, you wouldn't have to change this. You could have probably left the pink in, but I like to change. I don't know. I've always changed. Whoops, I missed though. Let's try that again. Didn't get it threaded. There we go. All right, so we're going to do our placement line. This is step number 6 and 7 on the top of page 13. Do the placement line for the frosting, and then we're going to lay our little piece on there. Mine's kind of directional, so I think maybe I'll put it doesn't really matter, I guess. The swirls can be up or the swirls can be down. So I'll put that on, that, and then do the tack down line, which is number 7. And then we'll go back to doing the decorative stitching. Got all the applique out of the way. I have a tendency to do, when I digitize myself, I applique and I do the whole thing so that like I don't have to change the threads. So I would have probably done the satin stitching around the cup part before I went to this, because then I wouldn't have had to change the thread. But Kimberbell usually does all the appliques first. So, and you don't have to, you can just use a neutral color for applique sometimes, but you do have to be a little more, aware of like decorative stitches, because if they're a little open like these are in the white here or the cream, they will show. So I have a tendency to do like the whole thing at the same time, so then I don't have to switch back and forth quite so much. All right, we're going to get this all trimmed, and then, whoops, kind of a little piece sticking out there. All right, so now we're going to go back to the pink, and it's going to do the little cup part, the liner. I think they call it liner in the pink. So we'll get this ready to do that, and then I think it's going to go do I think it might do can't see. I have to look on the book here. Next step. The thread didn't stay in there. There we go. All right, off it goes for this, and the next color is going to be it's going to stitch the candy corn first. So it's the 2 candy corns, and then the frosting. Okay, so the lighter part of the candy corn, you know, normally we think they're yellow, but they used the two oranges. And see, my lighter orange is a little on the goldish side, so I put that in. That's what they suggested. And it's going to do the the top part of the candy corn. I think it's only going to do one of them though, because we're going to put it back in again and do more. And then the next color is going to be the brighter, darker orange, and this one is tangerine. So we're going to put that in for the next portion. And then we'll do, I think it's going to do the satin stitching on the frosting. Yeah, so then we're going to put this one in. It's going to do a couple of the orange parts, looks like. And then it's going to do the satin stitching. I'm going to do the satin stitching for the frosting in that lighter yellow, which is Fashion Glow. So we'll get our orange on here for the rest, some more candy corns, and then we will be back in a minute to do the satin stitching. All right, so I've got my Fashion Glow in here, and it's going to do the satin stitching and stuff on the frosting, and it's going to do some details down in here and in the middle, I think, a little bit. And then we're going to go back and do a little bit more of the candy corn. Okay, so we got the little decorative detail done with the Fashion Glow, that light yellow, and now we're back to the the lighter orange to do the bottom of the candy corn again, and then I'll put the tangerine in for the middle. And then I think then it's going to go back to the kind of ivory color to do the top of the candy corn. Okay, so I started step number 12, which it was 12 and 13. 12 was the lower part of the candy corn, and now I'm doing 13. And then we'll go on to step number 14. It's on the top of page 13. That will be the tops of the little candy corns, and then there's some little stars around the outside edge. Okay, so I put my ivory in. It's going to do the top of the little candy corn, and then that's step number 14 on the top of page 13. And then step number 15 is another one of those placement lines, so you don't need to sew that out. So once this one is done, then we will be done with this block, and we'll be ready to go on to the next one. Okay, so we're all done with the ivory. And so remember the last step, which is step number 15, you don't need to stitch that out. So it was just a placement line. So they were all done. There's our little cupcake with the candy corn on it. Isn't that darling? So we'll go on to the next one, and the next one is going to be, this is the one with the little witch's hat on it. So the witch's hat is made out of the embroidery leather. So I'll have to find my little embellishment kit here, and the next one will be with the little witch's hat. So I'll be back in a moment once I get everything reset up. Okay, so the next one that we're going to be working on is cupcake number 4, and it's on page 14. So here's my little packet here, and I've got I've got a piece of the kind of creamy color for the frosting part, and that has shape flecks on it. So these all have shape flecks. And then here's the little cup part, the liner part, that's orange, and that has shape flecks on the back as well. And then our backing is going to be the pink, and it has the shape flecks on the back. But then we're going to make a little witch's hat on it, and the witch's hat is the black embroidery leather that's in your embellishment kit. So I've got that. And we're also going to do the same the same diamond quilting design. So I didn't take the design out of the machine because we can just go hit return again and hit just delete for the design, because we've already got the correct quilting in there. So then I can hit add, and then I can just go get the next one, which is cupcake 4. All right, let's see. So that way we didn't have to go back to the very beginning. Let's find the right one here. Sorry, I have trouble with my fingers working on the screen, so if I touch it a couple times. Let's see. So this one's got the little hat. Oh, here it is, right here. The one with the little hat. It looks like it has maybe some little sprinkles too. All right, and then this one says to bring it in centered. So we're going to still use that diamond one that I had the diamond one. So we're going to hit embroidery. I think we're ready to go here. Okay, so we're ready for our quilting. Now since this one is pink, I'm going to go ahead and put my pink thread in. You know, I actually kind of like the pink. What do you think? Does the pink look like it's going to be cute with the Halloween stuff? It could have been if I would have had some lavender, I could have used the lavender. It looked pink in the book. So and then once I got into some of the instructions, I thought, oh, I think the background's actually supposed to be lavender, but I don't have any lavender. So ours is pink. All right. So I got to get my chunk of batting ready. I've got my no-shell mesh and my 5x7 hoop again. Pink thread. We're going to do our placement line for our batting. Start the quilting process here. Second here. Boy, that book is heavy though. I have to make sure I don't let the arm hit it because it's heavy enough now. It'll get the arm off. It used to be a lot lighter until I did the second half of these. All right. Can you believe that this is the 9th one of these already? So we're going to put the batting down. Step number 2 is going to tack our batting down because we've done 9 of these already. I can't believe it. This is the 9th one. So we only have, no, this is the 10th one. This is the 10th one. We've only have 2 left. We have November and December left to do. Doesn't seem possible. I've been doing them like a month in advance, so you have them done, you know, before the month that they are. But oh my gosh, they've just flown by. These have been fun. I've enjoyed doing these. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next year. I might do something different. Trim our batting close to the stitches. I might do something. I have a lot of kits, Kimberbell kits, so I might just do a variety of Kimberbell projects because I have a lot of bench pillows. So I might just do bench pillows next year, or pillows, just because I have a whole bunch of them and I'd like to use the kits. So that may be what we do. May not be one every month because the bench pillows will take longer. But okay, so we got that trimmed. Then step number 3 again is going to be our placement line for the fabric. So that may be what I do. I've been kind of thinking about it. I need to go through my drawers. I have a little cabinet that has all my kits, and I need to go through and see how many I have, which I know I have quite a few. So I think there might be at least, now see how that didn't catch? It's okay that it didn't catch, but let me show you how to fix that, because sometimes it happens. Okay, so if you have that happen and it doesn't catch, and so often when it doesn't pull the bobbin thread up when you're on just stabilizer, so what I do is I take my bobbin out and just put it back in, and then I don't cut it off. Just put it around and don't cut it off. Just leave the tail hanging here. Then it leaves it a little bit longer tail. So I'm just going to back up. I'm going to hit the negative positive needle button and back up so that I can do that again. So you can see that it should pick it up now. But I often have that happen when I sew on just stabilizer quite a bit, and that happens. So see how it picked it up, and it's going around fine now. So don't be concerned if that happens, especially if you use pre-wound bobbins and you're using a tighter bobbin case. It happens more, and I didn't have to use a tight bobbin case until the last couple of years, so I've noticed it more with that because the other bobbin case was a lot looser. So okay, so I laid my fabric down over my batting, got it all centered, and I'm going to tack that down. So the next step number 4 is our tack down for our fabric, and then we're going to do the step number 5, the quilting. It's always good to show you if things, things don't quite work right. Okay, so then we're going to do the quilting. So I'll get the quilting going here, and this is that diamond pattern again. and it was also vertical. I think they did them all the same. It looks like they're all the same. All right, off it goes, and I'll be back in a minute, and we'll start with the, oh, it's going to do the lighter color, the kind of ivory color. Okay, so there's my little diamond pattern on my pink background. So I've installed the ivory thread into the needle, and we're going to do the placement line for that kind of off-white fabric. And this is steps number 1, 2, and 3 on page 14. So there's our kind of it looks like it's like the frosting kind of. And then this will go over that placement line. And I think this has a decorative stitch also like the other ones have. So we'll get this, whoops, got kind of a little tail here that might stick out. So get this, I've got the shape flex on the back, and get this lined up over there, and then we'll stitch the placement line for this, and then we'll trim that. This one didn't have too many appliques in it. So this is sort of looks like the kind of the frosting. It looks like it might put some sprinkles in it. That'd be kind of neat. And then the hat kind of sets over on the side over here. All right, so we'll get this trimmed. Get it trimmed. Get pretty close to the stitches there. This one's a little easier to trim than some of those little scallops were. Little scallops are a little tricky. They're very small. You don't think about how small these blocks are until you start working on them. It's so funny because they look so big, like the pictures look like they're big, and they all, turn out like 4 inches by 4 inches. So they're kind of small. Oh, that's kind of a tight little curve. Here we go. Get that one. Okay. And then the next one's going to be the decorative outline. So it's going to do kind of along the edge here and a little bit over here. So I'll be back when that is done, and we'll move on to, I think the next part's going to be the liner, the orange. Okay, so we're ready I got the little decorative stitches on that, and the next step is number 4 and 5 and 6 on page 14, and then the top of page 15, and that will be the placement line for the little liner here, and I've got my orange ready to put on that. Looks like it might go on this way. I'll have to trim. It looked like the hat was so big on here, but I think it's going to be really small. Again, it's always, they're deceptively small. These blocks were only like 4 by 4. So, okay, so we're going to lay our fabric down and do the tack down line. So it should go around it twice. And then we'll trim the little liner part. I kind of like the pink. I think it's going to be okay. I wasn't sure when I thought, well, gosh, it looks pink in the pictures, but then I thought it really probably was supposed to be lavender, and I didn't have any lavender. I went looking then. I thought I could recut it. Went looking for the lavender, and I didn't have any, so it's like, okay, well, we'll just go with the pink. I think it'll be just fine. And this is not a real pink. All right, so I got to get all these little curves again. These are kind of tough to do. Try to stay as close as you can. There we go. Down here to the bottom. All right. All trimmed. Oh, and it looks like it's going to do some little confetti up in here too. So it's going to do the satin stitches around here next with the orange. I'm going to leave my orange in, and then it's going to do, it looks like some little sprinkles up here at the top. So I'll be back when we get ready to go on to, oh, I think it's going to go on to the hat next. Okay, so we're ready for step number 7 on page 15, and it's going to be the placement line for our embroidery leather for the little witch's hat. And then we're going to tack it down, and this is going to be probably raw edge applique. Yes, so this is raw edge applique. So see, the hat's really small. Oh my gosh, it's so small. So we're going to just lay this over it. I am going to conserve this a little bit because I need to make another one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and make this, I'm going to conserve it and not put it right in the middle. And then we're going to tack this down, and it's just going to do like a triple stitch probably. And then we will trim it. Now embroidery leather sometimes is a little tough to trim. This is nice because the black has a black backing. Some of the embroidery leathers have a white backing, and it's a little difficult to trim. I am going to put my glasses on to trim this because everything's very dark. All right. So when I trim this, I like to trim by turning my Ginger scissors kind of up and down so that I don't get it like a beveled edge. And I'm going to trim about an 1/8 of an inch away or so from the stitches. So I'm just going to kind of leave my scissors kind of tipped up so that I get a pretty straight edge. It's not so bad with this because it is got a black backing on it also, but I like to try to keep the edges as straight as possible when I do these. These are always a little tough to trim. I'm still struggling a little bit with the embroidery leather. I take my time, and then sometimes I go back, and if I'm doing these curves, sometimes the curves are a little hard so that they look really nice. Okay. So I've got a couple little spots that are kind of flat here, so I'm going to see if I can get those rounded off. That looks better. Okay, so I've got enough to do another one, I think. Yep, looks like it. Then we'll go around the corner, again, about 1/8 of an inch from the stitching or so. It's pretty close. Just careful not to trim into your stitches. Go. Looks pretty good. There. Looks pretty good. This looks okay. I think it looks pretty good. All right. So there's our little hat. Now the next step is going to be, we're going to put a couple black sprinkles up in here. So I'll just leave the black in. And we'll do the little sprinkles. And then I think we're going to move on to, this is step number 9. And then we're going to do more sprinkles with the pink and the kind of Fashion Glow yellows. Let me get my pink ready. Just going to do a couple more sprinkles here. And then I'll do the pink and the yellow sprinkles. Oops, looks like I'm going to unthread here. I'll do those 2 before I come back, and then we will talk about the last step. Looks like I need to rethread my machine. Go back. And oops, I wouldn't have had to gone all the way back, would I? Oh well, there we go. We can find it. I just need to go back to where it jumped down. There we go. So I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to do the step number 10 is going to be the pink, and they're going to do the sprinkles. And step number 11, I'm going to do the sprinkles in the Fashion Glow yellow. Okay, so it finished step number 11 on page 15, and it not only did the sprinkles in the Fashion Glow, the light yellow, but it did a couple little stars, and then it did the detail in the little liner. Step number 12 is another one of those that you don't stitch. It's just a little placement line. So we don't need to stitch that. So we're all done with our second block already. So isn't that cute? I love the little hat and all the little sprinkles. That turned out so cute. All right, so the next one. What goes on with this next? Oh, this one's going to be fun. This one has some foam in it. I think this one has some flex foam in it. So when I get my page to turn. On page 16 is Cupcake number 3. And it's going to be, oh, look, it looks like a little pumpkin kind of. And I think there's some flex foam in this one. It looks like the base, this part's going to be flex foam. So that will be the next one we do. And so give me a few minutes. I just need to go get my stabilizer ready again and get my little packet ready, and we will start the third, oh my gosh, the third cupcake for this video. So we'll be ready for video number 3 before too long. I'll be right back. Okay, so cupcake number 3 is going to have a black background. Looks like they put a bunch of little confetti and stuff around that. That'll be really cute. And then there is a piece of the flex foam. So I've got a piece of flex foam here. And most of these have the shape flex on the back, but the background does. The top part, which is going to be like the frosting, does not. And that's because that's where the flex foam goes. I think, trying to see the background liner and cupcake fabrics. Oh, maybe I made a mistake here. Let me read it a little bit. Normally they don't put they called this cupcake fabric, so they must have put some shape flex on the back of this too. So I will. I didn't put shape flex. They do have it on the back of everything. So I didn't get it on this, so I will do that. Because sometimes they don't put the shape flex on the back of the fabric that goes over the flex foam, but I think it's actually this one that goes over the flex foam. I'm trying to see where it is here. I think it's actually this one. Maybe not. Maybe it is oh, it is. It is. It's this part, so it'll be okay. I won't put the shape flex on the back of this one because when you put the flex foam in behind it, it covers it. So I'll just skip it. You can put it on though. I think it actually calls for it, but I didn't put it on because I normally don't when I'm using the foam. So, okay, so we'll just do that. That's fine. And then the pink is going to be that cupcake part, and this is going to be the little bats are going to be the little cup part on the bottom, the little liner part on the bottom. Okay, so we got all of those. Got my backing. So I put black thread in my bobbin or my needle, and I've just got regular bobbin thread in the bobbin. Gotta check to see if I've got enough. Yep, to do this one. And then we're going to start with our quilting. So now this one's going to use a different quilting design again. This one's going to go back to that Halloween one, and I didn't have the one they called for, so we're going to go back to Halloween 1. So I'll just hit the little house button up here and go back to the beginning here. We'll go find the Halloween 1 quilting design because that's the one I used in the other one. So I'll have to see if I can get down here to H without passing it up, which of course I did. You know how it goes. This scrolls really fast. I've always noticed that. Okay, so Halloween, I know it's here somewhere. Here we go. Halloween 1. That's a little, we're going to do those little spider webs again. And we need the 4x4. It's right here. Now this one did not have clear blue tiles either. This one was just a block by block design. So we're going to set that. And then this comes in centered. So we're going to go ahead and hit add and go back and get the little cupcake. And this is the one with, looks like a little pumpkin on the top, kind of. Okay, let's see, October. Where is he? The guy with a little face here. So we'll grab that one. Hit set. Now and it should come in centered, so it looks good. The one thing I wanted to say is that they called for a light colored base with like a little Halloween print, and I didn't have one, so mine's orange. So I might change the colors of the thread when I get to that part. So just so you know, they called, I don't know if you can see it very well here, but they showed a white, kind of a white fabric here, and I didn't have anything light colored like that with a print. So mine is orange. So we're going to have an orange on there. Okay. So I've got my black in. We're going to do the quilting first, of course. Let me get all the little pieces out of the way. And I've got the black in. hit embroidery on the machine. And we're going to start out with our placement line for the batting. My chunk of batting ready here. I really like that little spider web design that's going to be on here. So, all right, and then we will do the batting. Can you believe we've got almost 6 of these done already? These have gone really quick. Real fun. This is Labor Day weekend, so I actually was off on Saturday, so this is Saturday, and so I got to stay home and work on videos today. I'm usually working on Saturdays at the store, and we were closed this weekend for the holidays, so it was nice to have an extra day to do videoing. So I've got 2 videos done today, so I think I'll just do 2 today and 2 tomorrow, so I can split them up a little bit. Okay, so we'll do the trimming on the batting here. I usually do most of my videos on Sunday afternoon. So, but I have another project I want to work on. I thought, well, maybe I'll work on that tonight for a while. Instead of doing a 3rd video today, I think I'll do that. Since it's also kind of a vacation. I don't get much vacation time, so I enjoy these long weekends when I get them occasionally. Had a couple this summer. All right, so we trimmed the batting, and now we're ready for step number 3, which will be the placement line for our fabric. This is on page 16 of the instructions, just so you know. Second here if I got my fabric ready here. Okay, so then I'm going to lay this over the placement line. And I might need my lint brush. Boy, I tell you, when I have black fabric, there's always orange cat hair on it. Okay. At one time I had 4 cats, and I had 4 different colored cats. So I think I had every color of hair that was possible. I had a black and white cat. I had a black cat. I had a brown tiger cat. So of course it was little brown tiger hairs. And I had an orange tiger cat. So between all of those, it didn't matter. I always had lots of hair on things, so you could always see it. Okay, so there's that. And then the next step, step number 5, as usual, will be our quilting. And this is going to be that little spider web design. So we'll let that quilt. And then the next step, we're going to move on to the cupcake part, which I think is that pink color. So we'll move on to that after this is done. Okay, so we got our quilting all done. I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well. It's a little hard to see with the black. But there's our quilting with the little spider webs. And now we're going to move on to the cupcake part. So it's in the pink. So I put my pink in. And this is step number 1 and 2 in the instructions on page 16. So I've got my little piece here, my little cupcake piece that has some shape flex on the back. We'll put this on here, and then I think it's going to do the liner part. So put this on, tack it down, and then we will trim that. And I've got my little, I'll have to see if I can kind of get one of the bats in the middle of the little liner thing here. All right. I didn't have any smaller print. I wanted something a little smaller, but that's I didn't have much for Halloween fabric. I have a little bit. I need to do another Halloween settee pillow for somebody, and I'll have to see if I've got enough fabric that I can eke one out. I've got a little bit, but not very much. All right, so trim that. And then we're going to go over to, what's this? Oh, the next one's going to be, it's weird on the, oh, see what it says here. Oh, it does. Step number 3 is actually the outline of it. So it's going to do the outline and then it's going to do some sprinkles. So with the pink. I missed a whole step. It was underneath the picture there. So, all right, so we're going to do that and then I will be back to move on to the liner part. Okay, so we got some pink sprinkles and my pink cupcake there. And so the next step, and this is step number 4 on page 16, is the placement line for our little liner here. So we'll do that and then put this down and trim it. And I think then we're going to do the foam, looks like. So, all right. So I'm going to see if I can get at least one of the bats, kind of that bat that's in the middle here. I'm going to try to, I wish mine were a little smaller, but maybe he can kind of be kind of in the middle there. Let's see if I can get him kind of in the middle. We'll see how it goes here. I looked and looked for something smaller print, but this is all I had, so I think this will work. We'll have one bat kind of in the middle. And I did put my orange, tangerine orange thread, the darker orange in for that. Okay, we're going to trim this. Got those little scallops again we need to trim, so I'll have to... I didn't realize that when they did the pink that they were going to do some sprinkles too. So I got the sprinkles done. Oh my goodness, these are really hard ones to do. These are really little ones. A little bit different shape than the other ones were. Let's see if we can get those done. Ugh, there we go. They're real small. All right, and I think I should be okay to leave the orange in to do my foam. I might go ahead and switch it to the other orange, though. I'm going to use the other orange for the top, so I'll just go ahead and switch to my lighter orange, which is actually a little more goldish color, but they call it orange. So we'll do that because that's the color that matches my top part. So I'll do that. And get ready, then this is going to be the foam. So this is on top page 17. So we're going to do the flexi foam here. Just a second here. Get some of these little flakes off. All right, so we're going to get ready for the foam. Do the placement line first, just like regular applique. And then we're going to lay the flex foam down. Now the flex foam I usually do tape down just because it's a little bit scoochy. It's a little slippery, so it scooches. So I am going to tape it down. I don't normally tape stuff down, but this is a little easier to tape. Put that on there. And then we're going to do the tack down line, and then we'll trim this also. And that's step number 7 we're doing now, and then we'll tack it down. Yeah, tack it down, and then we're going to trim it. I'll round it a couple times. Now this stuff is a little weird to trim. You have to kind of pull up on it a little bit. It's a little stretchy. Pull these pieces of tape off here. This is a little weird to trim, so you kind of have to pull up on it, and it's kind of in 3 layers because it's got like 2 pieces of like tricot, so you want to be pretty, so if you pull up a little bit, it's a little easier to get it close to the stitches. They usually stitch a little on the outside of it when they put the fabric down, so it's usually all right, but you don't want too much bulk. And that tricot, there's like 2 layers of tricot, one on the top and one on the bottom. So if you pull up a little bit, it's easier to trim it so you don't miss a layer. Oop, I get my scissors under there. There we go. See, I kind of missed a little layer there, but I think it'll be okay. All right. Then the next step, what number is it? I can find it here. This is step number 8. And they do tell you to switch over to your orange thread, but we already have it in because this is going to be the placement line for the actual fabric. Now I don't have any, and you can see it's a little bit over on the outside of the foam, so usually we're okay. Now I do not have any shape flex on the back of this, and that's okay. You can put it on. I find it goes over the foam just a little better if it doesn't have the shape flex because it's a little softer. And I'm going to also tape this down, and you want to make sure because this will pucker a little bit sometimes, so I usually tape it down too. And then I kind of watch it because if I start seeing it trying to pucker, this is the tack down line. If I see it trying to pucker, I kind of, you know, try to pull a little bit to keep it from there. That looks pretty good. Usually if you get around it the first time, it's okay. And then, let's see, what's next? We're going to trim, and then the next is going to be the decorative stitch around there. So we're just going to leave the orange in there. This is the lighter orange. So we'll do the trimming. Again, you want to be pretty close to the stitches on these. They do nice satin stitches though. I think it's going to do maybe some sprinkles too. So this one's going to do decorative stitches, and I think of some sprinkles. Or confetti. What are they calling this? Not sure. I'll have to see if I can see on the instructions what they actually call it. All right, get this around here. Okay. Oh yeah, so we're going to do, so what did they call it? They call it frosting, decorative outline, and sprinkles. So sprinkles. So that's what's going to do. I'm leaving that orange in, and then we're going to go to doing the liner down here, but I think I'm going to change the color. I think I'm going to use my darker orange since it's orange instead of white. Okay, so now we're ready for the satin stitch around the little liner, and I did go ahead and put my darker orange, it's called Tangerine, to go around there because my fabric was orangey colored. So we're going to do that, and then the next step is going to be, and they call for white because their liner fabric was white. And then it calls for the cream for some sprinkles and also some yellow. So I might go ahead and do the sprinkles before I come back on also. Do a couple more steps, do the sprinkles and this liner, and then we'll come back before we do the last step, which will be the little face on the top of the cupcake. Okay, so we got the little sprinkles in. I did the outline around my liner. That was step number 11. And it says white in the instructions, but I did orange on mine. And then it did the cream colored sprinkles and the yellow sprinkles. So those are all on. And then the last step, number 14, is the little face on the top of the frosting. So I'll be back in a moment when that is done, and we'll do all the trimming on all of our blocks. Okay, so here's that final little block after he has his little face. He turned out real cute I like the orange down here, so I think that looks fine. So that was the block that we just finished with the little face. And then we've got the other two here to trim also. So I think everything is trimmed the same way. Now the one does have, it had a special instruction, but again, since this was done, we did the quilting and the hoop, I should say. Everything should line up just fine. So I don't think we need, it should be about a 1/2 inch. It said all of them are going to be 4.5 inches. Yeah, 1/2 inch from the top and the bottom. So I'm sure everything's fine. So we're just going to go ahead and trim these. So I've got my little 4.5 inch ruler out here, my little orange pop ruler. And I got to find my rotary cutter here. And I'm going to take my little basting stitch here and kind of get it lined up so that I know it's pretty centered. Looks pretty good. I'm going to turn it here. and I'm going to go in just a little ways, pull back to the corner, and go forward. Just take your time with these. These turn out so cute. It's amazing how different they look once you trim them, you know. I've always thought it was so funny how everything looked so different when it was trimmed. Oh my gosh, there we go. Isn't that cute? So there's the first one we did with the little candy corn on it of this video. The second one was the one with the little hat, and I checked this one and it's the same size. So we're going to get this one lined up also with that basting line around the outside edge. Get it kind of centered there. And then we'll trim this one. Might have moved just a little bit on that one. There we go. I really like having a rotating mat. And when I found this Martelli roundabout, it is so nice because it has a Lazy Susan on the bottom. There you go. I'll have it linked, all the stuff linked that you're seeing me use in the video below. But there's the little hat, in that darling, with the sprinkles on there. And then the last one with the black background. Now this one you probably can't see the basting line. I can see it. It's a little hard to see, but get it all lined up here. It's right there. Looks pretty good. Oh my gosh, he's going to be so cute. Right. Go ahead and get this one trimmed. I remember on this one I was a little off center when I put it in the hoop. I was like, whoops, it's a little off center, but it's okay. There's plenty of fabric, so no problem. Okay. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that cute? And I did get the bat pretty well centered in there. So, all right, so there's our 3 blocks for this video. Those 3 blocks. They turned out so cute. So thank you so much for joining me for video number 2 of the Kimberbell October Mini Quilt. And we will go on with video number 3 and make some more blocks. And we're also going to do a little of the dimensional embroidery at the end of that, because there's a couple little pieces that are like freestanding sort of that we'll do in the next video, so that they're ready to go on to the finished quilt. So thank you so much for joining me, and if you haven't joined my YouTube channel, Sew Along with Jan, it's free, and you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Also, come join us at Sew Along with Jan on Facebook, our group. You can come join us there as well. And I will see you in the next video. And thanks again so much for joining me to make these 3 blocks. See you, everybody.